Hello and welcome again to another episode of Nerf News, your number one source for Nerf news on the net. I'm your host Drac, and today we're talking about this as quickly as we possibly can. I know you guys have been enjoying how quickly I can spit the intro to the news, and I'm trying to get better at it. I feel like I still stumble over a couple of them, but like, what are you gonna do? Anyway, let's launch right into it. What are we looking at here? Well, these are some of the first known images of the Elite Echo. Now, these are pretty interesting because it gives us a really good idea of what this is going to look like in the primary class level, what Elite 2.0 is really going to be about, and kind of how it's sort of like pseudo-budget in-strike in some ways. I'll explain. Alright, so we can see the entire blaster here and we get a really good look at what this is going to be. Let's get it out of the way real quick right now. This is the Elite 2.0 version of the Recon, aka Retaliator, aka whatever they called it when they redid it for Modulus. Like, this is a top prime Springer primary class blaster that comes with some accessories that honestly look kind of choked. Now, that sounds really rough, and I'm not like looking for excuses here. I genuinely want to like this because I actually kind of like it's growing on me. I originally didn't like it. I don't like it in the strong arm repaint. I don't like that this isn't going to be anything new or novel or cool. My little sister Addie did a deep dive on the new Elite 2.0 Triad, pointed out that the darts are just going to be elite darts, which are so bad. Come on, it's 2020, guys. But this is kind of like budget that isn't budget, if that makes sense. So Hasbro is getting more and more expensive on their flagship blasters and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper on everything else. The Alpha Strike line is a perfect example of that, but like some of the molding utilization here, some of the ways that they're doing this are definitely reducing the cost of materials, reducing that BOM, and passing on those savings to nobody, because this is, if our indicators are to be believed, this one's supposed to be coming in at 41 euros. A rough translation there turns this into a $46 primary. There's no way that's exactly correct, though. I do want to be as fair as I possibly can. I try to be super fair in all of these leaks, because that price figure is from, I think, Amazon, like France, and they have way more import taxes on blaster toys. Is this going to be expensive? Yeah, but is it going to be like ludicrously expensive? No. However, I think that it's safe to say it's going to cost at least $20, and it might even be closer to 30, which is pretty crazy given like how good the Recon and the Retaliator, how modular those were back in the day. I mean, these are the flagship Orange ModWorks kit blasters because they were so versatile, so popular. Now, with Modulus kind of in its swan song here, it seems pretty clear that Elite 2.0 is going to be our take on that. So we get a really small grip with no really nice contouring and some other features at that price point. Alright, so what are we getting in the Echo? Well, we're getting basic in-strike features in that super simple package that is a top prime Springer style pistol that can become a full-size primary. We've got some sort of de-locking mechanism here for when you have a jam in what I think is going to be a standards bolt sled style configuration. We're going to get basic elite darts. We're getting this magazine, which admittedly is a nice upgrade in some ways and a downgrade in others. We get a grip that doesn't look particularly comfy, a stock that looks way too short, and I know that they're trying to like make their flat pack smaller so that they can again save on money on shipping these guys over, but I mean, like, give us a stock that makes sense. Even for children, this is not really a stock. Now, the barrel attachment actually looks pretty good. It's very industrial. And I like that. It goes with, I don't love this, like, I guess, cheese grater aesthetic that they've been going with, but at least it plays off of the trigger nicely, and the little kind of mag cap here pretty nicely as well. And so let's take a better look at this. What is this? It's a basic 10-round in-strike magazine. 10 rounds is a little shy of that 12 that I think is the ultra sweet spot, but it's nice that like the Doomlands line before this, they are including kind of a butt cap, a base cap, a mag cap for this. I think that this is nice. I think that it's interesting that instead of actually painting things, Hasbro's decided to just injection mold things with breakaways in them, such that you can see the visible plastic behind them, therefore seeming less cheap than they actually are, when in reality, paint really spruces things up and looks nice. It's kind of interesting that we've noticed like a lot of other companies using stickers, using paint, kind of getting that vintage Nerf feel, as we watch Hasbro take steps back in quality and kind of take this approach that I want to point out in particular. It seemed like Dart Zone was doing really early on in some of their stuff, some of their more budget blasters. But Just like back then, it was a good cost-saving method to give them some nice contrasts and pops of color. It actually doesn't look bad here, and it's going to lend itself nicely to paint jobs and customization. This is just a really good look at the Echo's base blaster, and also the only paint you're going to see on this bad boy. We get a little bit of paint on this side in the form of the Nerf logo to kind of match some of this orange, and then we get a little bit of paint down here with the Echo so that you can actually read that that is the name of the blaster. Again, taking advantage of that cutout over what I think is going to have to be like the sort of barrel breech system here, maybe just sheet orange plastic, who knows. The contrast here is good. Realistically, the thing I like the most is that this is that kind of marbly swirl, turquoise metallic. You can see it swirling here all throughout these holes. I like that. I think that that's cool. It looks very marbled. It's a very unique sort of ABS plastic component, and I think that it honestly looks good. Again, the grip does not look super duper good to me, but in a compact pistol form, I don't like the rifle form of this, but in the pistol form, I actually like it a lot. I think that it's a very handsome one. I like it more than the Retaliator. I like it more than the Recon. I never liked how kind of chunky those are. The low profile style slide up here reminds me a little bit of like almost even a Grihas grip for the Kronos, and I think that that could be quite handsome as well. You can see here pretty clearly that we're still taking full advantage of our in-strike patents. This will be reverse compatible. We've got an in-strike stock attachment point and a muzzle attachment point, and I do want to applaud them on that. This mag release in here makes this look kind of cramped, but not really that bad. Some people like the ability to flip forward much more than the traditional kind of grab a tab on the side and pull that's been pretty consistent since the long shot. Again, this is just a look at the whole blaster put together. Kind of shows you how tight it is. Like, it's a very compact sort of build. Part of that is saving money in packaging, and then a big part of that is saving money in plastic. I would like to see slightly better accessories. It's a little shameful that the Recon has we didn't know how good we had it, right, boys? Like, we used to have Recon and Raider stocks, and the Raider stock was obviously quite good, and we used to talk about how flimsy the Recon stock was and how it needed PVC to be supported. This is just a bad stock. It's just too short to be usable by anybody, and aesthetically it looks kind of like an afterthought. It's very strange to me. I would much rather see the original Recon stock make a return, and even though it was kind of flimsy in some ways, it was less plastic than this and far more functional. So let's take it back one more further, and you can see, like, again, this is what I'm talking about. It's an in-strike stock, it's super chunky, and it matches, but it's too short to do anything. Like, I imagine that this stock, based on kind of the overall size of the blaster, is going to be roughly the size of my hand, which is crazy. And then over here, like I said, just don't get too used to that paint, boys, because Hasbro's not giving you any extra, certainly nothing to spare. None on this Nerf logo, none on this Echo logo, and then you lose a tremendous amount of those holes to this massive warning text here, which could have very easily been hidden underneath, like up in here. I don't love this. I would have put it under the slide up top, if anywhere. It's just kind of wonky. Now, I do like this cutaway here. I think that this break in the muzzle is nice. Looks really good in pistol form, and it actually looks really good here as well, how it kind of mates to this. Now, it's a little crazy that we can't get a full Picatinny top rail to save our life, or I guess this would be in-strike tap rail. However, again, from an ID perspective, I think that it's nice that this muzzle break up here has these nice cutaways, which blend into the cutaways here. The design language is very consistent. This cut here, this trapezoid, is mirrored here and here. The whole thing looks very consistent. It looks very nice. We've got trapezoid here and trapezoid here, again in cutouts and VEFs. But again, we're just getting so cheap. Look at this this rail attachment point. They're not even including the little the springed pop-up piece, which is definitely the most secure version that they've had. Neither is this the plastic simple machine tab that pops up. This looks like it's just an open space into the top rail, which I'm sure will get dirty pretty quick. Now, I'm going to reserve complete judgment on this blaster until I get it into my hands, but overall, I think that this is a very straight shooter. It's not a must-buy. It's not a must-skip. The Elite 2.0 line looks like it's going to be Elite, but worse, which is kind of a shame because the legacy of Elite is that it was in-strike, but strictly better. Same prices, actually better performance, actually better darts, really just a steroid shot into the hobby, into the blaster space, really defined. I mean, we still, to date, call 70 FPS, 75 FPS Elite standard performance, and these are almost certainly going to be overinflated marketing hypes. We have no reason to believe that the springs are stronger. However, when we get our hands on them, we'll run them through the gauntlet. We'll get you guys full data so that you can make the most informed purchasing decisions possible. However, the Echo doesn't look terrible. If it's priced fairly, that is to say if it's under 30 United States dollars, it's going to wind up being the new standard elite blaster that you wind up giving kids to kind of start off on their Springer modding journey. I would still rather start off with a Maverick, but I think that this is a reasonable sort of blaster. I wish that it came with a slightly better stock. I wish that it was a little less cheap in some of its design choices. Most importantly, I really wish that Hasbro would start forking over the extra like 6-7 cents a shell to paint both sides, because the aesthetics don't blend very well side to side. It's just the holes are lost on one or the other, and I'm not a huge fan of that decision. However, overall, I do like the turquoise. It's really growing on me. The contrast with the marbling and then the solid Nerf orange plastic looks quite good, in my opinion. I'm sure some people will agree or disagree, but that is the Elite Echo 2.0. Let me know in the comment section down below, guys. I'm very curious. What would you guys pay for this blaster? Do you think it's worth 30 bucks? Do you think it's worth more than that, less than that? Where does it fit into you guys' little Nerf armory kind of niche? Because honestly, does this thing do anything that a regular Retaliator can't? No, but it's a very different shell aesthetic and a slightly different ergonomic, and I think that that's well worth exploring. Now, Echo, say hello. What do you think? Just kind of funny, Esser also just rescued a dog that he decided to name Echo. We did that independently at different... You were too sweet. You were... Come on. Hey. Anyway, if you like Echo, I think that she's undisputedly a pretty good Echo model. We've been modding her with food and love, and her ranges are getting better every single day. So this tiny polar bear sometimes makes appearances on Twitch, just for those of you that have been kind of struggling with quarantine or maybe just want to hang out on Twitch. I know I plug this a lot, but I've actually been streaming pretty much every night during quarantine since the apocalypse happened, and we've started up a pretty cool Twitch fam. So if you want to see more of Baby E here, or if you just want to hang out, we've become somewhat of a variety streamer, and we would love to have you join our little undead army over on Twitch. But this is Echo. It was too good an opportunity to pass up, guys. If you happen to love schnauzers as much as I do, you can come check her out on Twitch, or she makes appearances on Jinx's Instagram page. But that's the news. This is the Echo 2.0, or the Elite 2.0 Echo, and I think it's pretty safe to say that this is the Echo 1.0, because you were here first, weren't you? Much love. Echo on. Back out.